did this guy know? What did Governor Tim Walz know, and when?
Here goes Tim Walz,
brought this to the
guy who let this all happen.
Something brand new. This is not brand new, and it's been being worked on. But he made it white hot and very dangerous.
Yeah, it's white hot and very dangerous to you because you were the one who allowed this all to happen. And you're saying that this isn't new because you knew about this. You allowed this. You had every indication that this was going on, and you did nothing about this whole time. And you wanted to be our vice president?
To the Democrat playbook, what we described for you earlier. It's not happening. It's a conspiracy theory. Nothing to see here. It's the system.
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
All of this happening purportedly under the nose of Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud. Held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House oversight investigation role in his role as governor, or Keith Ellison, the attorney general. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire theft ring. The executive director of Black Lives Matter, by the way, over in Oklahoma City, has now been charged with wire fraud and money laundering. The organization raised more than $5 million in 2020, but she is accused of pocketing more than half of that instead of using it to bail out people from protesting in support of BLM. No, she pocketed, allegedly, most of that money. Oh, by the way,
and that's not new either. This isn't new either. Nobody remembers whenever Black Lives Matter, the people who took over the whole country had signs on NBA courts and had the NFL had put on there no end racism, everything like that. And yeah, what they were saying, Black Lives Matter, all that stuff, was a great protest for all black people. Sure. But at the same time, not a single dollar went to a black man. Not a single dollar went to a black woman in need of service of the Black Lives Matter protest foundation. The corporation that they said that they called a nonprofit, where they just paid themselves fat salaries and gave no dollars, nothing to anybody who needed it. Whenever you have people incarcerated for no reason, they did no investigations for that. They could have used their funds for that, for figuring out exactly who was incarcerated illegally. All these black men that we keep talking about get locked up for no reason, they could have used their money for that. But no, instead they fattened their pockets. And that's not new either. We've been talking about this for a long time. People forgot about this, put it under the rug. But here it is. They're bringing it up again. And I bet you, once again, nobody else is actually going to talk about this. We're going to keep talking about the Somalians. We're going to keep talking about how Trump is orange man bad. But nobody's actually going to talk about the Black Lives Matter scandal that happened, the embezzlement scheme that they did. This is insane. And this is something that affects our community the most. But I guarantee there will be very little black people speaking about this at all, because they think that it'll tarnish our image, when in reality, we need to stand up for ourselves and make sure that everybody knows we're not the ones to be played with. You're not going to play with us, take all our money, and then not even help us. You use our name and likeliness and not even do anything for us. We need to let them know we're not the ones to be played with. And until then, we're always going to be in this situation.
Here she is. Notice who she's in the picture with.
Yep.
That's right.
Of course.
Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. But hey,
we've allowed these people to Congress, man.
Let's bring in our spotlight panel. Fox News contributor Mark Thiessen, Fox News anchor Julie Banderas, and Fox and Friends Weekend co-host Griff Jenkins. Mark, I think every allegation has to be proved. There has to be facts. There has to be evidence. But I mean, goodness, if you're one of these Minnesota politicians, You got a
A
lot
lot.
swirling around
It's
you.
a lot of fraud in Minnesota.
Yeah, and it may actually be worse than what you just outlined, which is pretty bad, because the Treasury Department is also investing whether there was a terrorist financing element to this. A lot of this money that's going from Somali community in Minnesota goes back to Somalia through these hawalas, these money trading clan-based money trading groups, and a lot of that money goes to Al-Shabaab.
Wait. You mean to tell me that these illegal immigrants who don't like our country are funding terrorist groups? What? These illegal immigrants who come over here and tell you they hate our country, they hate us, and they want our country to be like their country, and they're here to make money to fund their country. You mean they're funding terrorist groups? Who would have known? Who would have thought that?
U.S. designated foreign terrorist organizations affiliated with Al-Qaeda. So City Journal reported that millions of dollars were going to Al-Shabaab through these hawalas. So, it might not just be the regular old-fashioned theft of taxpayer money. It actually may be funneling it to terrorists who want to kill Americans.
That's 100%.
Well, let's just for the moment, that's right, Mark, and we've reported on that and talked about that here. I want to go to levels. So I'll go to you first, Julie. There's the politician angle, okay? So there is Walz, there is Omar, there is Ellison. And I think at this point, these people have to be real suspects in this, how this could happen, not just under their watch, but with this many connections to this fraud. I just don't want to see the story stop at some local small level. You don't steal at this level without ignorance or complicity.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Yeah, well, ignorance, then you just defined it right there, because the Democrats, a lot of them in power, do believe that they are above the law. And are we surprised? First of all, I'm very surprised that Tim Walz actually said something credible. He said that this is nothing new, that this is not a surprise. You're absolutely right. It's not a surprise. Democrats have been forever. Think about all the government handouts that came out through COVID. The Democrats were trying to reap the benefits of the government for free handouts. Democrats and liberals are all about free handouts. And if they're not being voluntarily, they're going to take it. And so, unfortunately, then you've got theft. And it's definitely not fraud. I'm 100% on board with you, Will.
Embezzlement.
Theft.
Well, you've seen guys like Peter St. Onge and Elon Musk now saying that this is, by the way, what you're seeing here, this is rampant throughout all of the welfare programs in America. And then the other angle, Griff, is the Somali angle, which we've talked about, which is not just an appropriate, but an important angle to be talking about, because ultimately, it's not just Minnesota. We've been reporting here about this very same thing.
Maine, okay.
Now there are new reports today that it's happening
Maine,
in
Ohio.
Well, and I think, Will, what Mark was talking about earlier, we saw this afternoon, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent saying that he's standing up this geographic tracking order to go after these money service businesses to try and track exactly where it goes. Look, if you're buying some luxury Porsches and some villas in the Maldives, that doesn't amount to $1 billion. This is a widespread thing, and I think Peter St. Onge is right. Look, you have the Feeding Our Future, stealing from poor children that are supposed to get meals, free school lunches during COVID, instead going to lavish purchases, but did it go overseas to a terror network? And when Tim Walz says that it's already been handled, and when you have Ilhan Omar saying, well, if it happened, it's the FBI's fault, they did something wrong, that's not going to stand up. That doesn't account for exactly what we don't know, which is where did the majority of all this money go?
And we know, we don't know technically where all this money went, but we know that it went to things that weren't benefiting anybody in America. They're not contributing to America in any way. They were going out. They heard that there was an American dream, right? And so they came over here. They say, yeah, we finna get that dream one way or another. Yep, we finna come over here. We're going to get all y'all benefits. I'm going to call my homeboy back in our country, and I'm going to teach him how to do it afterwards. He going to move his family over. They going to get all y'all benefits. They going to steal all your money. And then we're going to go buy some Porsches, a nice lake house. We're going to have some nice stuff. Oh, also, guess what? We're also going to be, you guessed it. We don't like this country. We're going to tear it down. We're going to go ahead and send money over to terrorist groups because we want this to be our country. Who cares about Americans? American citizens. F America. It's our country now. This is what they doing to y'all, and they doing it right in y'all face. And what are y'all talking about? Trump.
Now, this is why accountability matters. Not because where someone comes from, not because how they look, but because when a system stops enforcing standards, everyone pays for it. Fraud doesn't care about feelings, and taxpayers shouldn't be forced to bankroll incompetence or these illegal immigrants, if we're just being honest, and all their corruption. If you found value in this video, go ahead and hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to Unfiltered Logic, and share this with someone who still thinks this was just an innocent mistake. And if you got a story, tip, documents, or clips you want me to look into, email me directly at unfilteredlogic.jnew@gmail.com. I read all of them, stay logical, stay grounded, and I'll see you on the next one.
Ain't no capping in my logic, this that real tall vibe. From the south where the grind don't die, we survive. Mind sharp, money right, truth be the topic. Welcome to the game, this unfiltered logic. Ain't no sugarcoating here, just truth in the topic. Speed facts, not feelings, that's unfiltered logic. Pain made the hustle made profit. I learned from the struggle, now I profit off logic.